Today we fly the Citation X and use VNav within the flight management system to execute a flight from Las Vegas, Nevada to Phoenix, Arizona. For this flight, we will show the features that VNav brings to the pilot. This video consists of 3 sections. First, we will go over the central theory of VNav. We will then illustrate how VNav fits into the flight management system during flight. And for the third part of the video, we will show VNav in practice with a full flight from Vegas to Phoenix. Pilots benefit with VNav engaged during flight. Instrument departures and arrivals are simplified. The climb, cruise, and descent phases are optimized. VNav provides glide path information during instrument approaches. VNav reduces the pilot workload, and the efficiency and safety of the flight is improved.
Number 1. VNav theory.
VNav stands for vertical navigation and is part of the flight management system. VNav controls the aircraft climb, cruise, and descent profiles in the vertical dimension and is usually active within a programmed flight plan. You can consider VNav as the altitude and speed manager of your flight. VNav is a flight management system function. VNav uses aircraft performance data to make the calculations. Aircraft weight, weather, speed restrictions, and altitude constraints are all considered for the final VNav profile. VNav coordinates with aircraft thrust to meet speed and altitude targets. VNav commands the aircraft pitch to follow the target climb and descent path. Vertical navigation honors the constraints for instrument departures, arrivals, and approaches. Vertical navigation uses submodes. These are flight level change, altitude select, altitude hold, vertical pitch, and vertical path. The flight management system calculates the vertical profile for VNav to execute. During the climb, the aircraft maintains an economical speed until the top of climb is reached. VNav will adjust for speed and altitude restrictions. In cruise, VNav maintains the planned altitude and airspeed. For descent, VNav calculates the top of descent point, and the aircraft descends at an idle or near idle thrust for efficiency. Again, VNav will meet the altitude restrictions.
Number 2. VNav and flight management system integration.
I have broken VNav integration with the flight management system into 4 sections under data flow. 1. Flight management system flight plan entry. 2. Profile calculation. 3. VNav guidance to the autopilot. And 4. Pilot monitoring during all flight phases.
The data flow. Number 1. Flight plan entry.
I will now let my assistant guide you through the entries into the flight management computer.
Position initialization has entered our departure airport at Las Vegas. Within the flight plan menu, our destination is Phoenix Sky Harbor International. In the performance initialization, cycle through the pages. We will climb at 310 knots. Our flight level is 29,000 feet. And confirm initialization. Now continuing with the performance pages, we depart on runway 2, 6 right, we will fly the RASLR 3 instrument departure with a transition at ZAYNE. Now to the nav pages to enter the arrival info. Our arrival runway is 25 left. We perform the ILS landing and arrive via BRUSR 1 with the transition at WOTRO and activate. Proceed through all flight plan pages to remove discontinuities. Use the delete key to remove the discontinuity lines. In the tune page, enter the frequency of 110.75 in nav 1 for the ILS on runway 25 left. Back to the performance pages, we check and confirm the data for all phases of the flight. Fill in missing info if required. Check our approach and VREF speeds for landing.
Here is our calculated flight from Vegas to Phoenix, covering 263 nautical miles. The flight is about 40 minutes.
The data flow. Number 2, profile calculation.
For the profile calculation, the flight management system uses the database performance algorithms to calculate the top of climb, the cruise altitude, and the top of descent. In addition, the profile will consider step climbs or intermediate level offs. And the profile will ensure that all published altitude and speed restrictions are met. These are the waypoints and altitude restrictions for the RASLR 3 departure from Las Vegas as mapped out by ForeFlight. And the series of waypoints for the BRUSR 1 arrival for VNav to follow during the descent.
The data flow. Number 3, VNav guidance to the autopilot.
With VNav engaged, the flight computer commands the autopilot with a variety of modes within the VNav program. The VNav profile calculation will use aircraft pitch. It will target selected altitudes. VNav will follow the path profile, will maintain airspeed during a flight level change, and VNav will hold an altitude when reached. The VNav program also works with the auto throttle to adjust the engine thrust during the climb, cruise, and descent phases.
The data flow. Number 4, pilot monitoring.
The pilot monitors all phases of the flight. The pilot sets the altitude, 29,000 feet for our flight. VNav will not climb or descend past this value until changed. When the autopilot is engaged, the flight mode annunciator will show the armed in white and active in green submodes. The different VNav submodes are flight level change, altitude select, altitude hold, vertical pitch, and vertical path.
Number 3, VNav in practice.
We now illustrate the various VNav submodes in action in a flight from Las Vegas, Nevada to Phoenix, Arizona. This 40-minute flight has been edited to highlight VNav in operation during the key phases at waypoints within the flight profile. gear up. At 500 feet above the ground, we can activate the autopilot and engage nav, VNav, and the auto throttle system. The flight is now completely automated with VNav engaged until the autopilot is disconnected for landing. welcome to Phoenix, Arizona.